Okay, so we talked about data types in our last video, and now we're going to start doing some really basic work in Excel to understand our data and to begin to analyze it, because this file, which is relatively small, has 435 rows. So there's 434 NBA players here, and that's too much for me to understand just by reading this, right? We don't read data files, we work with them, okay? And to jump to the beginning or end of a column, I can just do Apple up or Command up, Command down. So let's say that I want to understand the ages of players in the NBA. Okay, so I have a column like this, age, and it's just a string of numbers. We have this all the time in when we're looking at data. So this might be employees' salaries, it might be state budgets, it might be the number of students enrolled at different schools. Okay, and it's a bunch of different numbers that represent the same thing, and we want to understand those numbers, right? So maybe I am writing about a basketball player who is 42 years old, and I want to know, okay, well, is that unusual in the NBA for there to be like, how unusual is that? So a really basic way to do this would be to just find out what's the average age of someone in the NBA. And we can do that here by inserting a function. So a function means I'm going to put some math in this cell and I'm going to make a calculation. So to do that, I'm going to click on the cell where I want to put the function. I'm going to come up here to the function bar. I'm going to type equals, and then I'm going to type the name of the function. So there's a function called average. And now I'm going to tell it which numbers do I want to average. So the easiest way to do this is to come and click on the first one. So this B2 says, okay, take the number that's in cell B2. And now I'm going to type a colon, and that means through. So I'm going to do B2 through this last one, B435. I'm going to close my parentheses to tell it I'm done with my function. And when I hit enter, I now have the average age of a player in the NBA, so 26.68. So this begins to tell me a little bit about this entire column of numbers. I'm going to call this a distribution, okay, because we have different numbers, they're distributed across a range. So some people are less than 26, some people are more than 26, the average is 26, okay? In Excel, this function stays here. So if I say change one of these values, and let's say he's going to be 40 now, my average updates, okay? So this formula stays here and changes as your numbers change. Now, let's say that I want to take the average of the minutes played per game, okay? I could repeat the steps that I just did. I can also take this cell and copy it to right here. And when I do that, you'll see that it's updated my my column reference here. So I'm no longer talking about column B, I'm talking about column E. So Excel is smart like that it'll update those columns for you as you move things around. Now, these are all numeric columns right here. So I could take the average of all of these, and an easy way to do that is I could either copy and paste that formula, or I could come here to the bottom right of the cell where the little solid green box is, and I can pull that over. And what it's going to do then is fill that function across all of these columns. Okay, so now I have some idea about what is the average for a lot of these, and I can begin to contextualize my data and say, okay, someone who's 42, that is unusual for the NBA. So is someone who's 21. And in another couple videos, we'll look into that, that a little bit more deeply.